Okay. Had to get the recording going here for those that aren't able to join us. But anyway, thank you. Appreciate you hopping on, and certainly ask any questions, about anything that I bring up here as we go. Happy to answer questions. So, and welcome back. I think everybody is returning except for Maddie, I guess. So thanks, Maddie, and welcome aboard. All right, let's see. Why is this not? There we go. Okay, athletic training. We have a new trainer, head trainer. Her name is Sage Wallace, and this is her cell phone number here. So if you haven't gotten it into your contacts yet, please do so now. Amy Alvarez is still working with us a couple of days a week right now, and she will assist us through the winter as needed also. So those are our two primary trainers. Every now and then we might have someone else over here helping out. Things for you all to know regarding, training is knowledge of the athlete health conditions. Like if anybody on your team's got a condition that we need to manage, trainers should let you know about that, and you as a coach should be aware as well. AED locations, making sure you know where our AEDs are located for indoor sports. This winter, the AED is located in the main gym lobby up on the wall. We also have one out at the track behind the concession stand in the room that houses the ice machine. All right, so both of those should be available at all times. And then emergency action plans. I've asked Sage and Amy to get with each program at some point during the preseason to go over emergency action plans, so that should an event take place where we need to act quickly and get help and so forth, we have a plan and assigned roles and so forth. So expect that in November before we start the regular season. Okay, I start every coaches meeting with the number one I guess liability exposure for all of us, and that is supervision. That is our top priority from a legal standpoint. And not only is it a legal exposure, so to speak, for us as coaches and a school, but it's also for the safety of the kids, right? To prevent some of the dramatic things that we've all read about. So just again, reminder, from the time they show up to practice to the time they catch a ride home, they are our responsibility to supervise. Locker rooms is our number one concern. As I've stated in the past, most of the issues that we have, including in this county recently, takes place in locker rooms. So I ask that you be a regular, available coach. Someone, be regularly available on a daily basis. I've got some ideas on that, to where maybe programs can share that responsibility, so that maybe one time a basketball coach is in there, next night wrestling and so forth, so that we have someone there. Kids know that there will always be someone close by and in proximity, close enough that a coach can hear something that appears to be rising, so to speak, within a locker room, to shut it down, to hear any particular language we feel is inappropriate and needs to be dealt with, and also obviously to prevent hazing being our big issue as well. Okay, so we will have a plan to manage our locker rooms before practices and after, each day, and pre and post games as well. Hazing, connected to what we just talked about, biggest thing here is be aware it happens, and kids don't understand what hazing is. We try to educate them. They are aware of the very severe incidences, but don't realize that maybe other things that they feel are harmless still fall under the category of hazing. So, you know, anything that you find out about as um, harmless as you might feel it is, please bring it to my attention. If we need to deal with it, we will. But, you know, anytime anyone's forced or coerced to do something they would rather not do, you know, that rises to the level of hazing. And again, as we mentioned before, locker rooms tend to be a location where this type of thing is taking place. Harassment, just, you know, again, for your protection and, you know, I guess out of preference of athletes, you know, do not touch athletes. In regards to hugs, you know, my recommendation is do not initiate. You know, I know we have some athletes that may want to hug. If they initiate, that's fine, but I would not initiate any touch or hugs. Avoid being alone with athletes, whether it's, you know, in cars or, you know, in conversations. Okay. If you feel like one is necessary with an athlete, and certainly I'm available to sit in, other assistant coaches, etc., just so there's a third party present for protection. Suspected child abuse, again, if you're, you know, coming in knowledge of any type of information you feel is putting an athlete or any student in danger, whether it be the home situation or anything else, definitely bring that to our attention. That is a legal responsibility of coaches to report anything they feel maybe rises to this level. Okay, our code of conduct, most of you are aware, we have a code of conduct regarding the use of alcohol, tobacco, drugs, illegal performance enhancing drugs as well. Again, if you come across information that you feel needs to be investigated, please bring it to my attention. Let's don't sweep it under the rug. Anytime we sweep anything under the rug, that just opens ourselves, I think, for even greater issues down the line. So, you know, as harmless again as you might feel something is, if you come in knowledge of something, bring it to my attention so we can do our due diligence of investigating to determine whether, you know, we have an issue that needs to be dealt with at a, you know, higher level and involves maybe in this case a violation of our code of conduct, which then requires a suspension for the athlete, but an option for them to have that suspension reduced to 14 days the first time, 28 days the second time, if they agree to counseling, and most of our kids do. The idea here is want to get kids help that need the help. Okay.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
The second violation, is that a 30-day suspension and you reduce it to 28 if they do counseling, so they get 2 days back?
It's actually, so it should be, it's 30 days suspension or to the end of the season, whichever's longer, which I didn't put.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, doesn't look like much of a reduction there, but it could be depending on the time of year of the violation. Communicating with athletes, we highly recommend using anything that records communications. Okay, so remind.com, email would be communications that do that. You know, our recommendation is to avoid texting, and especially any one-on-one communications with athlete via texting. Keep these communications professional. And just a reminder, we can be friendly with our athletes, but we're not their friends, right? We're the ones to you know, hold the line and enforce expectations, etc. So please remember that. The remind.com, I've used it before and it's worked out well, but just make sure communications are recorded so the full context of communications are available if needed. Again, we feel like this is for your protection. Procurement. What I will say here is just run everything through us. Run everything through Morgan and I. There are, county procurement requirements and procedures that we have to follow. And the safest thing to do is just, you may be involved in doing some research for a product you want to get. Send those links to us if they're to order by online, or send us a contact to reach out to execute a purchase. If there is something that needs to be purchased by a coach, please run it by me beforehand, just so you are assured that you'll be reimbursed. And what I would say is that, the one thing we cannot reimburse is tax. Okay, so know that. Anything you can when you start meeting with parents, preseason meetings, etc., let them know this as well. Have them run everything through us before they purchase, if the purchase is to ultimately be paid by the athletic department. Okay. And just no gift cards at all for awards or anything like that. No use of booster money for any type of gift cards for coaches, etc. Media, just a reminder, let's be positive with the media. I know some nights might be tough and it may be best not to say anything at all, but certainly no criticizing of opponents or officials. And, our athletes often get interviewed after contests, and my experience has been that they often kind of share what athletes or their coaches have shared after a contest. So just keep that in mind in regards to your talking points after a game or an event. Social media, just discuss with athletes how social media can be used in a positive fashion. Let's take the high road. If an opponent, rival, kind of gets something out there that gets under our skin, maybe even inappropriate, we don't need to respond. We can let our play be the response, so to speak. So please do anything you can, and particularly rivalry weeks with our local county schools that haven't had a whole lot of that here recently, but does crop up sometimes. Okay, sportsmanship, my goal every year is for us to get through the year without any ejections or sportsmanship violations. Okay. Ejections are on the rise across the state. Fighting in particular is rising. I will say most of that is football, but there's an added emphasis on trying to prevent such behaviors, and thus some new ejection suspensions. Okay, suspensions for ejections have come up. So a regular ejection in a game just, is going to be a 1-game suspension. All right. But anything involving a fight or hate speech is going to be elevated. If anybody comes off the bench and interacts when there's been something that's taking place on a court or field, what have you, that's going to be a 20% of total contest limitations for a sport. So for basketball, that would be 4 games. Okay. If an individual is actually involved in fighting or hate speech, that individual will get a 30% of total contest limitations. That's 7 games for basketball. Okay. Wrestling, that would be 4 matches, I guess, Scott. So anyway, y'all can do the math, but just know, it's fairly substantial how suspensions are going to be put out for behaviors that
4 games is
rise to the level of fighting or
jumping
hate
off the
speech.
bench. They're just coming off the bench in an altercation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way it reads is if they engage, I mean, and I don't know what that definition means, right? If they come 5 steps out on the court, do they physically have to get involved? To me, physically getting involved means they're in the fight, So what I'd say is, and what I recommend is each of you, each sport, that plays on a court or whatever, against another team, have a coach responsible for making sure nobody on our benches moves, off the bench if something were to take place. Head coaches likely could be needed to go on the court and try to help with what's going on a court, or Matt, I guess. But someone else should be responsible for making sure nobody on the bench goes on the court. Okay. Other things I kind of classify as sportsmanship is be a good visitor when we go on the road. Okay. Adhere to what the expectations are wherever we go. And then, I think a nice thing that I always recognize when there is a team that does this on our in our venues is cleaning up our bench areas before we leave. All right, get all cups up, any tape, things of that nature that might be sitting around our bench area. So I would ask you to do that. When we host, I would ask you to greet our opponents and welcome them, find out if there's anything they need, let them know we do have a trainer on duty. Water should already be out there, hopefully waiting on them, etc. But just welcome them, make them feel comfortable being in our house, so to speak. And if there's anything they need, let the administration know and we can provide that for them. All right, most of you all know this, but before an athlete can participate, in tryouts, for tryouts, all of this stuff is required. Athletes got to have their physical on file, complete activity registration, which has been set up and is available right now. And then athletes will have had to have passed 5 classes last spring or through the summer, as well as be taking 5 right now. Thing about winter sports is we check the eligibility come the end of the first semester. Okay, so if we need to track some athletes, if some are maybe on the bubble for being eligible second semester, let us know. We'll try to get some light a fire, so to speak, and get folks eligible. Rules clinics. I know basketball and wrestling are going to have one. I'm not sure about swim and indoor track. I went online today to see if they have rules clinics. I don't see anything up on the website right now, but that could change, and I'll keep you posted if that's the case. But both basketball programs and wrestling will definitely need to complete rules clinics, and those I think are to be up here in the next week or so, maybe around November 1st. Okay. Tryouts and cuts. All coaches on the staff should document their tryouts, rate players, skills, etc. Be as objective as you can. Try not to compare notes while you're doing this, just so that you each have your own evaluations to discuss afterwards. And keep these evaluations. Okay, if there's ever a concern from someone about how tryouts were conducted, etc., having that documentation can be useful when explaining decisions. Cuts for 9th and 10th graders. Yeah, we're trying to, it's maybe difficult, but if we can keep particularly 9th and 10th graders, the county would like us to do that. I don't want things to become unmanageable, but the thought process here is trying to get some of the younger students in the school connected with the school, and the thought is athletics is a great way to do that. So this year we added a freshman volleyball team for the first year. It's been a hit. Kids have had a great time. They don't practice every day like other teams or JV and varsity teams, but they're having a great experience. A reduced schedule, but they're having a great time. So if you think of anything in your sport that would fall in line with this, let me know. Not quite sure that fits all of our winter sports, but if you have an idea, certainly run it by me. Yeah, and also for cuts, meet individually with each athlete. My recommendation is to also share skills you'd like them to develop that would give them a better chance of having success the next time out, if they're an underclassman. Okay, and certainly no lists. I prefer everybody to have a conversation. Okay, transportation. We will provide a bus to every home and away or every away event. So we definitely will do that. And we will need a coach on the bus with athletes. The athletes are still allowed to drive themselves to games. Okay. So that's not something we should arrange. That's not something we should encourage or require. But if they choose to do that, they need to let you know, just so you know who should be on the bus going to a game. Okay. So then anyone that's on the bus and riding to your away game, you are expected to have them on the bus returning with you unless a parent signs them out once after the contest, or if you have an email, all right, that's been sent requesting the athlete to ride home with someone else, approved by myself, and I'll copy you on that as well. Okay. Don't need to worry about that. Coaches' education requirements, I sent those out. Please knock those out. I'd love to get that done before our first practice on the 6th. Some of you have been getting that to me. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, we can't, no sports allowed to hold a practice without a trainer unless they have all coaches' education requirements met for the year. Okay, so that most likely would involve Saturday practices. If you want to do Saturday practices, we've got to have all the education taken care of. Name, image, and likeness. This is now a thing in high school athletics. The HSL has recognized that and now has a rule for name, image, and likeness. Basically, an athlete can do this, but they cannot utilize any VHSL or Western Albemarle logos, uniforms, etc. Competitions, none of the photos that someone might post, etc. can involve a VHSL activity or any of our logos. Okay. If someone plans to sign a national or NIL contract, they must notify the school within 72 hours of the agreement. Okay. So my recommendation here is we have gone through the process of this with one of our athletes. My recommendation is, if you're aware of any other athlete with this type of opportunity, come to me immediately and we can just make sure they navigate this in a manner that does not possibly make them ineligible, okay, to participate in VHSL activities. Okay, some miscellaneous items. Just former players are not allowed to participate in practices. This is, again, I guess, a liability concern about safety of kids, just maturity levels, okay, of folks returning versus high school athletes. So no on the court type activities or on the mats with wrestlers or players who are wrestlers who have graduated. Anytime you want to discipline an athlete, and there are times where we need to do it, please come to me to run by the situation so we can come to what we feel is an appropriate and defensible decision. before implementing. Practice changes and cancellations, please make sure you communicate that to me and to Sage. Just helps us understand who's going to be around, who's not, and for Sage, it may save her time from setting up a location that she doesn't need to on a particular day. Sage will be conducting impact testing. We'll get that organized early on in the season. If she can get started before, we might even try to do that. She'll be in touch. Team photos, again, we'd like to get that done before the season starts. I will organize that for us with some days. We're going to try to get most done on the same day if we can. Online ticketing, we've got a new online ticketing company this year. We're going with GoFan, which has been the state online ticketing app. It's been worked extremely well this fall. It's very easy. I think we feel more fan friendly, and so just know that we'll communicate that out to parents, etc. But be aware of that. Clear bag policy still in effect for the county. Reminder, we've got the athletic website. We will post schedules, which are already posted actually, as well as rosters. Any other information that you want to get up there, we can get up there. Basketball schedules, that's where I'll post the weekly basketball practice schedules as well, if you want to make sure parents are aware of that. The Our School phone app, most of you will probably already have access to this, but this will give you access to your roster this year. So contact information as well as medical information will be available through this app. So double check to make sure you have access. I think most of you downloaded this last year. But I will share the information to download and utilize as well, just in case you haven't done that. Winter sports coaches merchandise early next week, maybe midweek. I will try to get this out to you. It's going to be sent in an email, but we've got a survey basically to collect your choice and size and color and so forth. So, if you want to coordinate as a staff, that's fine. Otherwise, you're welcome to pick separate merchandise items. Want to get that done. I don't know, before practices if possible. That way, hopefully we can get the product back sooner and have it for more of the regular season. Contracts, we'll get those out for you probably mid-November, maybe. We have to submit those to be approved by the school board, so sometimes it takes a little longer than we'd like, but we'll have that hopefully by December 1 for you to sign. Huddle, we have signed a department-wide contract with Huddle. We have already installed a camera up at the stadium. We will be installing one in the gym. The advantages of this is an automatic upload into Huddle for you. Okay, you can utilize this for practices as well. So please, we've got, in this contract, we have access to every tool that Huddle offers. So the breakdown, the stats, anything like that you would like to use, please utilize it, because we are now have access to that. And at Neptune Game Time Music, I will get to basketball teams and wrestling, I guess. An invite to create your own playlist. Neptune is a system that only allows clean music to be chosen, and so we can provide access to each team to go into the system. Search for musicians, etc., that they like, and choose the clean music that is acceptable to be played pre-game and during games. Okay, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Steve, I have a quick Huddle question.
Okay.
If it's everything they do, does that include, like, they advertise like making highlight videos for athletes for recruiting purposes? Do you know if it includes that?
I don't know if it does that. I'd have to look into that. I doubt that.
We've been doing that manually, so if they do that, that would be awesome.
Right, right. I will check. I'm not sure about that. I'll check.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So just a reminder, most of you know this, but some might not. Our district consists of all our local schools, surrounding counties, plus Goochland. One thing to make note of, we are going back to, this would be for basketball, maybe for wrestling too. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but coaches will be meeting again to conduct all Jefferson District selections. So we'll get information out on that toward the end of the year. Here's our region. Little different than the last time we were in 3C. East Rockingham's in there now. Who else? Maybe no, Wilson's in there. Anyway,
Allegheny's the
same
new one.
folks. Oh, Allegheny. Yep, Allegheny wasn't in there. So that's those are the two new ones. And then Fort Defiance and forget who else left us, but well, Charlottesville, I guess, left the region. They've gone up to 4. So anyway, here's our region, and qualification is as it was before we left, top 8 for basketball based on PowerPoint system, which you both are familiar with. So didn't get the changes we were hoping for. Anyway, all right, that's all I've got. Anybody have any questions or concerns? No? Okay. Appreciate your time, guys. Look forward to getting the winter season off and running. Shoot me notes and questions that you might have. Please knock out that coach's education. Encourage your kids to get all their paperwork done, right, including the activity registration, and we'll be good to go.
Hey, Steve, real quick, could you resend me that the coach's training email? I can't find that anywhere.
Sure. Yeah,
Thanks, Steve.
I'll send that out to everybody. Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.